No more dragons. I am done with dragons. I am not making another freaking dragon, probably ever. So the reason I'm done doing dragons. Let's start with, I spent 6 to 8 months working on that Little Blue baby Great Lakes dragon. I uploaded all the videos and all of the time lapses and the step-by-step and my thought processes and the troubleshooting and the techniques up on this channel. And if you haven't guessed by the Deadpool shirt and the FBI hat, the filter is off. So if you don't want to deal with a really good 25-minute rant, you should probably turn this off now. But I'm done doing dragons. For the May the 4th Be With You show, which was the SBA show, I took 3 dragons, okay? And not only am I not doing dragons anymore, I am not doing the SVA anymore. I will probably still be a nice community supporter and still pay for a membership, but I'm also done with the SVA. Let's start with, go back to the dragons, okay? Dragons. Spent 6 to 8 months making them. Spent probably about $100, $120 making them. Hundreds of hours not only making the dragons with surgical tools, but also hundreds of hours compiling video and doing tutorials and explaining everything. And seriously, I think it was the biggest waste of time I could have done, both for this channel because nobody really watched it, and I got told by several viewers that they basically skipped through the time lapse. So I spent, countless hours, making sure I was videotaping it and not taking it places where I would have been able to socialize or relax, so I could make sure I was filming it here. Only to get it skipped through. So nobody here was watching it. Nobody really cared. Then I spent time and energy taking it to the SVA, where I priced it out at an astoundingly low, and I do mean low price, because it was hundreds of hours of materials, and I spent over $100 in materials. Hundreds of hours work, a couple $100 in materials, right? Only to be told that I didn't price it high enough. I just wanted it gone. I wanted to sell it. It wasn't meant to be a huge, big thing. And the thing that really makes me really testy about this is the fact that a week before I popped a promo video for it, people were inquiring, was it for sale? It's a smaller piece. I can fit that piece in my car. And yet, it didn't sell. Now, do I think that it was the promotional video that didn't sell it? No. Do I think it was the quality of the work that didn't sell it? No. I think it has to do an awful lot with the SVA. Yes, I'm blaming the SVA because I had the buyers there. But once again, it's like the new member show, which was the first show where I was showing 2D and 3D work. I had my work in 2 different spaces. Now, did I know that I was going to have bids on both pieces? No. Were both pieces priced out to sell and go and not come back? Yes, they were. Arakho was back in what they call the artist workshop, and Little Blu, which is the Great Lakes dragon, was priced out in the gallery. They were both priced out at $500. Arakho is a big piece. Every time I move him, I have to rent a U-Haul. Minimum, I have to get a cargo van. Every single time I move him, because he's too big. He's 46 inches from his base to the arch in his neck. I have to get a truck every single time I move him. Now, I was told by the SVA, who begged me to bring him, somebody was going to help. Somebody was going to be able to bring a truck, da-da-da-da-da-da. There was a whole bunch of promises with helping move him. Arakho still hasn't come home. It is June 25th. The show was on the 4th of May. He still hasn't come home. He may never come home. I didn't want him to come home from the show. That's why he was priced out so low. We're talking clearance. I spent well over double that just in supplies to make that dragon. I'm not making another dragon. There is no sense in it. Not only did it kill the views on this channel, but here's the thing, one of the reasons why I did step-by-steps with Little Blu and incorporated aspects of how I made the Greater Siberian Mountain Dragon Arakho is because I had a lot of I always have people asking me how to make these dragons, except that those videos got astoundingly low views. Tanked the channel. So there was no point in doing it. Not only that, the SVA promised demos for their Star Wars show, their convention show. They showed, now keep in mind that's all in a playlist. All of the 3D work, which is all of those videos, is all in a playlist. There's probably 4 hours worth of material there. The show only goes for 4 or 5 hours, and they had the whole weekend to do these demos. All they had to do was upload the one channel, upload the one playlist, and play out. They played the same one video over and over and over until speakers came up to do presentations, which were some gaming stuff. So nobody saw how the beginning of the dragon was, and I don't understand the point behind doing that when the piece that's on display, how to make this, is actually one room over in a gallery. And this room is packed full of gamers. People doing demos on how to do miniatures, people doing henna, people demonstrating how to do games, people doing presentations on how to run gaming shops, and whatever else they were doing presentations on, because I was actually so annoyed, so tired, and so beat out that I didn't even want to be there anymore. And the coup de grace to this whole big, it is a dumpster fire. That's what this show was. That I got pinned down at Arakho, and I'm trying to balance my time between the gallery where I had 2D and 3D work and Little Blu. And I had people who were interested in Little Blu, and Arakho. Arakho is a huge piece. Well, now it's going to go in a dumpster fire, because seriously, that's where I want to put it. I want to light that big white dragon on fire. I'm so infuriated. Then I have a woman that comes up, and she is just beside herself with that dragon. It is so spectacular, and she's like this for an hour and a half about how I'm not pricing it out right. I'm not getting it in front of the right people. I need to put this thing at conventions. I need to put it in front of LARPers, and people will pay to get their pictures taken with it. Now, don't get me wrong. For an hour and a half, this woman tied me down to that, badgering me, just rudely badgering me about how I'm not marketing that dragon right. When I said, you know what, it's $500, you can go market it to whoever you want to market to and make a mint off it. $500 and it's yours. Oh, I live in a trailer, I couldn't take it. Well, I'm betting you can't afford the $40 it costs me every time I have to move it. And that's from one end of Sheboygan to the other end of Sheboygan. But that didn't let her off the hook, and she tagged me 2 or 3 times till I really just said, I did. I finally went, lady, I don't care. Please leave me alone. You are harassing me. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, and believe me, it was annoying and it was bad, and I was there in my Ren Fair garb and out in character, and I was really out to just really upsell my dragons and sell the convention and really be a fair player in the whole game. I was up for 6 hours of, well, I'm the lady of the dragons and I am the keeper of the dragons, and if you have any questions, please don't touch the dragon, he may bite. He does have a 2.5-inch bite, but no. Like an hour and a half into it, and I'm talking like this, and I'm really thoroughly annoyed. It's 98 degrees in there because there's so many people packed into the SVA, you can't move. You can't move. So it takes me what would need like a 3-minute walk from one end of the gallery to, or the workshop, around through the bar, into the gallery. Takes 20 minutes because I have to wait for people to get the hell out of my way. So like there is no way for me to bounce between one dragon and the other. And nobody's, I didn't know about this. Nobody is redirecting people who are asking about the baby dragon into the white dragon. However, some people, because of the way I was posting on Facebook, did know about it. Now that's not the coup de grace. That's not the one that really ticks me off about the SVA. I get there, and there's the wrong labels. One of the things that they're supposed to do with setting up the show is to give me labels with prices on them, and if I decide that I wanted to do a silent auction, which is what I wanted to do with the 2 big dragons, I can do a silent auction. I didn't even have labels for either one of the dragons, so nobody actually thought that either one of the dragons were really for sale. And how can you take it seriously when the artist is literally on a piece of typing paper writing out $500 or best offer silent auction on it's taped with a thumbnail and a pen. This is supposed to be a gallery. I am supposed to be able to look professional. Fun, but professional. And I can't do it because I have a handwritten note that says if you want to buy it, go ahead. Well, everybody else has stickers that are properly printed out. When I go to the show coordinator, he says, it's a 45-minute drive away. Do you really need me to get this? Don't you have a printer here? I'm pretty sure that the SVA bought a printer, but no. I'm handwriting out sheets that are bid sheets, and nobody's paying attention to it because it looks like a 5-year-old wrote it out, because I'm writing it out as fast as I can because I'm trying to go between 2 different rooms. That got me shakingly angry. When I finally tracked down the person who actually was interested in buying Little Blu, she seemed turned off. And wait for it, when she says, how much is this dragon? And I said, $500. She says, how much is the one in the other room? I said, $500. She says, oh. And then she looked down at the thing, and then she kind of made a face. Almost like I was making it up, like I was selling somebody else's work. That's the kind of quality that I got. I neither sold Little Blu, nor did I sell the Greater Siberian Mountain Dragon for what is an unreasonably low price. And I'm bouncing between the 2 rooms, including the fact that in an effort to get people into the gallery, in my Ren Fair garb, I'll put a picture of it, okay? In my Ren Fair garb, I'm out on the balcony waving at traffic. And, getting called obscene things to the point where the other person who was also in Ren Fair garb but was doing more of a steampunk thing actually got so upset she was in near tears when she went in the building and said, I can't do this anymore. Because people in this town are not the most couth people, and actually they're really, really, really rude. So not only am I done making dragons, I'm also done with the SVA. So to keep me on point, I had made a list so people don't think I'm just picking at certain things, okay? And I'm going to make another video that's going to be a reset-up and a restructuring, and this is the reason why it's taken me a month to post a video. And reasons that I stopped vending, which is how I primarily was selling my work, was to vend. The reason I stopped doing it was because I wound up with a ton of merchandise on my hands. I wound up with prints and items to sell and originals, and it was a lot of crap that I was taking and having to load in my car. Which gets to the second reason. Every time I wanted to show something, I had a carload or a truckload or a trailer load full of stuff that I had to haul to this place for a weekend and then haul it all back. It was exhausting. Reason number 3 that I quit vending was because it cost too much money over the course of a year. Okay? So every time I would vend, it was anywhere from $45 to $100 a weekend or a day, depending on what the show was. Some of these shows are like one-day shows, and they don't guarantee anything. You can't guarantee what your gate is going to be. People are walking into these shows. But I'd be spending $40 to $60 a month, and then probably maybe not making that back. So I stopped doing it because I wasn't moving anything. And then I guess the last reason was I did do all this effort, make all this stuff, and then I wasn't necessarily selling anything. So I just said, I'm done with this. And how do I get rid of it? I need to find a new way. And I looked over my resume and I said, you know what I really don't have is I don't really have any gallery representation. I haven't really approached a gallery. And the SVA kind of appeared, and I looked at it and I was like, well, this is kind of like a community center gallery kind of thing. And I applied. Dues are $40 a year for a member that's an artist. But then again, here's another thing, that you were wrapped into 16 hours of gallery sitting. Okay. I thought that I was going to get way more visual stuff out there. I was going to have my work seen by more of the public than it is. That's not necessarily true, because 90% of the people that see my work at the SVA are the same people that run the SVA, same people that are members of the SVA. It's the same 230 people, okay? And those are the same 230 people that are the primary buyers of the art at the SVA. So guess what? You're basically selling to the same, you're beating a dead horse right there, okay? Well, I also thought there was not going to be any real hauling of stuff. It wasn't going to be like the whole table set up, and then there's walls, and then there's this, and then there's that. There was a lot involved with me vending. Well, now I'm renting a cargo van to move Arakho up there so I can wait for it, not sell him. So not hauling things, but I'm also not making sales. There was the whole bonus of not having any merchandise, except that now I still have the merchandise sitting in storage. So that doesn't, and I'm not moving it either because, well, if it's not originals, it can't be put up in the gallery. So now I just have merchandise just chilling in storage. Well, that's really useless and not helping me. I thought there was going to be less to do. Well, that's not true either, because instead of me having to call up and pack up research shows, scout shows, now I have to worry about 16 hours worth of gallery sitting. One of the bonuses to joining the SVA, I would get out and I would socialize, and I would get maybe some friends, because this is my social life. There was the gallery presence, that was a reason I could put, but again, it's not, the SVA is not really regarded as a gallery, and they don't carry themselves as a gallery, because when I put my work in a gallery, I kind of expect that my work is going to be well received and well treated kind of thing, and while my work is well received at the SVA, it's not well treated. Okay, we're talking about probably a 150-year-old factory, okay? When it gets too hot, and believe me, they only have heat in that building. There's no AC, there's no ventilation, and there is no humidity control, okay? So when it gets too hot, and they have these rooms that are sectioned off around the gallery, between the gallery and like the bar, or the gallery and the workshop, and it gets too hot, in order for it to be not so hot that you would pass out, people have to open up windows. And they open up windows and they open up doors. Well, that would be great if this place had screens. But there's no screens. So on more than one occasion, animals have gotten in the building. And most recently, as of the night before the 4th, a mourning dove had gotten into the building, and there was people throwing birdseed around and trying to catch it with fishing nets. And of course, the bird had up and landed on Arakho and had pooped on Arakho, making me not such a happy camper. Now, could I have pushed it and said he's damaged and now you needed to actually reimburse me? I could have, but I was kind of hoping I could get more out of it by selling it the next day, and so I didn't push the matter, and now I'm just all over, I'm just done with it. I'm tired of every time I drive by there, I'm wondering how much damage my work is taking, because it's pouring rain outside, the windows are open. And I know the humidity is off the charts in the gallery, where it's supposed to be controlled and secure, and it's clearly not. Okay. Then there was the thought that I would get more of a local representation and more of a local kind of sense. Okay. Let me tell you that that train has left the station, and now I know exactly in Sheboygan what I'm looking at, which is $20 for something that you work 70 hours on is an expensive piece of artwork for some of these people. And they're exceptionally disrespectful about how they tell you that. I've now been a member of that gallery or that group, community service, however you want to refer to them as, because really, as a gallery, I don't really consider them a gallery, and as a community group, it's like corralling cats. They have a board, and I don't think the board can even get on the same page about anything. And I've tried. Like, this whole thing with this last convention that was like a dumpster fire. And don't get me wrong. They had a lot of people in that building. They had a fuck ton of people in that building. They had more people in that building than they really should have. But it wasn't organized. There was one piece of artwork sold, and it was a print of an original. Other than that, all of the business went to the local gaming houses that they brought in, and the people doing demos, and all the people that just wanted to come for a cosplay contest. So the gallery itself didn't do anything. And that's from the guy who coordinated the show. Reasons I'm stopping with the SVA. Pretty much covered, but let's hit the bullet points. I don't have to deal with promises of people helping me set up and haul stuff, or show set up and then it's not set up the way it's supposed to be. It's not even set up professionally. It's not coordinated. It's not organized. Okay? If I have to babysit weekends, it's going to be purely for my profit. There's not going to be, I'm spending $40 and then you're taking 20% off the top of my profit, too. I don't have to provide food for an event if I decide to go vending. I don't have to help coordinate the events or decorate the events or plan and make sure that when these events go off that they're actually contacting, like, I don't know, the paper and the local, advertisers, that it's being advertised properly, because that's a thing that was promised with the SVA that's also not going off. If I go to vend at a show, I don't have to worry about being socially uncomfortable. And that's a really, really big one. That is, right now, that is like number 2 with this group. I don't have to go and attend a show and worry about somebody literally screaming at me like I'm 5 about something that may or may not go down at this show that I may or may not have any idea what the hell is going on with it. I literally got tagged at Smallworks because somebody handed me 5 pieces of work, said go back over to the original wall, grab 5 pieces of work, we'll put them up on the trade wall. Okay, well, I didn't know anything about it, but that didn't stop somebody from screaming at me in a gallery full of people till the entire show stopped, because she was screaming like a psycho. And I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I literally was so shocked, I put the pieces of artwork down and I left. And I've never wanted to be around her anymore, and I am so physically uncomfortable around that woman that I start to shake, and I start to want to cry, because I don't know if she's going to snap off at me. I do not want to be around this woman in public, ever. And I'm not the only person she's done it to. There was a woman who was helping coordinate the holiday show in December, and she went off at that woman over, of all things, the position of a Christmas tree on a table. Because it was behind a door, and the ornaments they were on the tree were actually tags that people were encouraged to buy to donate to a local charity. And behind a door, the stupid thing couldn't be seen. But that did not stop this woman from going off and screaming at another member till that member left for the entire night. Now you tell me where that's fair, mature, or even like an adult. And I'm not putting up with that. I don't have to worry about somebody tagging me at a show for an hour and 45 minutes. I can just simply ask them to leave, and if I don't like it, I will be forced to leave my booth, but I will go get security. I won't be forced into some social bizarre situation where I'm, just freaking go. You're a buyer. Leave. I don't have to put up with your stories and your bullshit. But yes, I am done with these socially uncomfortable positions that the SVA has put me in. Like, seriously. It's not really a gallery. I thought that it was. I was impressed at some point that it might have been able to operate like a gallery. I was impressed that there were real artists there. Well, let's see. Year 1, I got told that I was not a real photographer because I don't develop my own pictures and I'm not shooting on 35mm film. I'm sorry. This is the 21st century, I shoot digital. I'm sorry. Oh, but you're not a real photographer because you use Photoshop. Well, I'm really sorry, but this is the 21st century. And I'm sorry, but a lot of photographers edit their own film, even when it was on 35 millimeter. So I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, there's a reality for you. I actually thought that the gallery was going to be probably open more than it was, and it was going to get more traffic than it was. On the average, the SVA gallery is open every weekend from 10 until 2 or 10 until 3. So best 5 hours a day, 2 days a week. And then on the final Friday. Now, it's not like I didn't give this place a push, because I worked down at a restaurant that's a fast food restaurant that's within eyeshot. And so I would put up flyers, I would hand out cards, I would push these shows, okay? And the Final Fridays really took off. I would even put my own artwork in that restaurant, except that then artists that in that restaurant would say, well, that's not really the crowd we're looking for. I'm so sorry. So you don't want to have your shit seen by the general public? Because I'm pretty sure that I have the general public, but it's not that general public. I'm so sorry for you. The snootiness of which some of these members have is just astounding. And I will say, as late as a show in the Cedarburg Cultural Center, which is supposed to be an SVA show, of which they have 8. They're looking for 30. They have 8 artists that are willing to put their work down at the Cedarburg Art Gallery, or at the Cedarburg Cultural Center. Now, the Cedarburg Cultural Center, that's got some money. That's got some tourism money, and the city itself has got some money. So those people will spend, they'll spend the money. And the auspiciousness of some people and the audacity of some people was that when they made another call saying we only have 8 members putting work in the show, could somebody else please sign up so we're not just taking the same 8 members. One of those members said, I've been a member of this group because it's a juried show. Let me preface this statement by saying it's a juried show. You had to spend $20 to get your shit juried into this show, to get taken to Cedarburg and brought back if it did not sell. This person said, well, I've been a member of this group for 30 years. I should hope that my work got in. Excuse me. You have just as much right as anybody else to bitch. But because you've been a member for 30 years does not make you more or less acceptable into the show. Okay? If they had 150 pieces and they were like, you know what, your shit gets sold everywhere. Let's take out this other member whose work might be a little bit better. Let's say they were an absolutely crappy artist, and they're not. This is a really good watercolor artist. I like her. It's just that she looks down on a lot of things. A lot of things. And I think it's just a little audacious, the amount of things that she looks down upon. But for her to say, well, I've been a member for 30 years, and so my work has to be in there because I paid my jury fee. No, it doesn't. You should have the same rights as anybody else that puts their work into that show. And this is the reason why I'm done with this. They think that seniority means that they should have more power in that group, and that's not the way that a fair system works, but that's the way it works there. They had a sci-fi convention show, and the entire troop of veteran members lost their minds. We had to sit down and explain what a con was. We had to explain what cosplay was. I had to actually tell people what May the 4th meant. And these are people that have supposedly seen Star Wars. How in this day and age do you live in a shoe in the back of your closet? Because you really have to try to not know that. These are artists that don't consider digital art or digital painting real art. They don't consider any use of Photoshop or photo editing real art. It's all cheating to them because you're not working with actual materials. And the show coordinator and the guy who was marketing the show originally had a piece of artwork picked out from a member of the show, and it was a nymph, and the nymph was kind of like this. Okay, let's discuss this. A nymph is a wood sprite that uses her sexual prowess to her advantage. That's what a wood nymph is. That was what the picture was. So it was a female in kind of an anime manga style. She was very well endowed in a, kind of a two-piece bikini thing. No nipples. Nothing actually really vulgar. Not at all. Kind of a little midriff shot. Arms up like this. Just, that's a wood nymph. I get it. It was a good piece of work. But we have a problem with it because that's not a fair representation of this club. It's not. It's a fair representation of the show. It's a sci-fi show, and if you don't like it, then pull your crap. Oh, I'm sorry, you're a jewelry artist. Because clearly we have to make something that it can't offend anybody. And then somebody else piped in with, well, that's offensive to me. Okay, so let's talk about the history of sci-fi art, but you know what? That became a rant, and then it really spun out of control really, really, really quick because the entire SBA went like this. And you had on this end the very conservative people that thought that real art was painting with actual materials and painting like landscapes and buildings and abstract shit jewelry. You couldn't offend anybody with it. And this part said, well, we've moved into the 21st century and you can draw people, you can draw action figures, you can draw, and then you had me in the middle kind of going, A and B need to talk to each other, and this is how this works. And you can't look at this wood nymph and say that, well, it's offensive because let's talk about the feminine figure in art. I was very, very lit up about this show for many weeks before it happened. And I am not surprised at the outcome. But after this, I am done dealing with people that, well, if it doesn't fit their definition of classic art, then they're going to be done. Well, you want to deal with classic art and you can't afford to go to John Michael Kohler, then I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you should just stay here. Because at this point, I have no time and no patience to deal with this. I have not been put on this earth to teach somebody who's in their 70s that art still is constituted as art when it's digital art and when it's wood nymphs and space scenes and, a laser battle. I'm not going to. Zombies can be art, okay? I'm not going to justify this for 45 minutes. I'm not going to make out all big, huge presentations about how manga is art and it's a cultural thing, and just because you're not in Japan does not make it irrelevant. I get that you don't understand it. I'm willing to spend the time to teach you about the culture of Japan and the culture of how manga has affected entertainment in the United States, but I'm not gonna sit here and take your abuse. I'm just not. And I don't have to just deal with it from the SBA members. I have to deal with it from the general public, where I'm trying to actually help these people get in the door. I'm done. And to double that down with two dragons that could have easily sold for $1,500 to, $2,000 a piece, and I'm being told that one, it's not selling because I'm just not charging enough, and the other one is because basically the SBA let me down and it wasn't labeled right, and I had to be in two different places at once. I'm just done. Bugger this.